DraftSociety.com presents a Premier League Draft Fantasy Podcast. Welcome to the Key Pass Collective. Your exclusive source for the information, analysis, and advice you need to dominate your fantasy leagues. Come on in. We've been expecting you.
Oh man, Draft Heads, has it been a minute? Welcome back to the Key Pass Collective. Man, we've been out for a minute here. It's been crazy. It's been absolutely crazy. There's been some stuff going on, as you may or may not have known. We'll get into that a little bit about what's been going on in our lives, but generally as well, you know, like the Premier League has had some really wacky game weeks and extended game weeks. So we did take a week off there when we had the game week that lasted like 2.5 weeks or whatever it was. Anyway, oh gosh, it's been it's been a couple of weeks for sure, and we're happy to be back. Welcome in to the KPC. We're excited. We're excited to get back into it. My name is Joe Williams. I'll be your host for this particular episode. And we're going to talk all things draft fantasy. That's what we're here to do. That is what we do on this podcast. For those who are newly initiated, we are the audio companion to the Draft Society website. So quickly, what is the Draft Society? We do this every episode. Basically, we've got everything you need to dominate the draft game. Everything you see on the screen currently, and audio listeners, I'll go through it as well, of course, but is completely free. So top 75 consensus ranks, weekly waiver wire articles, you get 3 free, and there are 3 that are reserved behind the paywall. You have Sleepers 11 weekly article, Ghost Point Hunters weekly article, useful draft stats, which are extensive and incredible. Predicted lineups every single week. We've got those for you. And then, of course, we do have, like I mentioned, kind of a behind the scenes, behind the curtain, members only area. And if you're willing to join for the season, we've got you a deal right now. Use code CYBERDRAFT for the ultimate pass. That'll get you everything we're about to discuss. But we're talking weekly rest of season player rankings. We're talking weekly player points projections for every single player. We are talking sortable consensus rankings every international break. Trade advice, that too. Strategy, set piece taker tracker, fixture difficulty tracker, access to our exclusive Inner Circle Discord, which is cool. A lot of really knowledgeable people on there. A lot of great conversations that are had on there. It's pretty awesome. And then, of course, confidential trade advice. If you do not want anyone in your league to see what you're asking, it's right there. So you don't want to go in the Discord. Instead, you want to keep it secret. We got a spot on the website for you to send us a confidential email where we'll get back to you, just you and us. And then, of course, if you do sign up for that season pass, then we've got the fantasy toolkit as well for you. This is our bespoke tool. It is an app created by DraftLad, absolutely amazing. And you put in your Fantrax ID, and it literally tells you players that are available in your league, players that we recommend you pick up, trade value for your players, rest of season difficulty for your roster, rest of season roster value for all of your players. I mean, there's so many tools on there. It's absolutely incredible. It is worth every penny. We truly believe that. And we've gotten some great feedback on it too. So if you're willing, help us out, help us keep the lights on. And we are an independent fantasy football website after all. So yeah, we appreciate everyone who already subscribes. Thank you all so much. All right, so today on the KPC, we're going to get into the insane amount of injuries that are popping up, some that are actually ending seasons for several players, which we'll talk about all that. A new segment called A New Low, emphasis on the new. I'll explain that later. And then we're going to talk a little bit of future planning. Ryan and I will give you some advice about what we're doing and how we're looking ahead at this point in the season as we get sort of to the business end of the season here. And then, of course, Gameweek 26 streamers. Let's get you set up to dominate this week. So that should do it. And hopefully, maybe, we'll have some guests join us at some point or another. But regardless, even if not, you are absolutely in good hands as you've got me and you got Ryan here co-piloting this amazing ship of ours. How are you, my friend?
I'm all right, man. I'm still seething about the game week, as you know. But it's one of those that's gonna take a little bit to get over. But I'm glad it's a short week because the only way to get over it is to get right back up on the horse and get knocked down again.
Yeah, listeners, Ryan was against. You were against Salah, Trent, and who else?
Not those were the big DGW guys.
Yeah.
And I lost Kai in the run up for the season, which we'll get up to, and it's somehow cobbled together a 140-point week. And I was up 40 going into that game against Trent and Salah. And literally that pass, that assist from Salah to Trent was the only way.
It is heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking. Yeah. And for those who don't know, Ryan's not one who follows live scores on his phone. You like to kind of put it down and like look afterwards.
I do. I like to get the gut punch all in one fell swoop. If I was watching that live, honestly, I don't know what I would have done. So I check right after. I see I lost 144 to 140. Well, that really sucks. What happened? And then I go back and watch the highlights. But just brutal.
That's fair. Damn. That's brutal.
And I knew as soon as Spurs lost to Liverpool and they were going to have the double this week that's exactly what was happening. So.
Yep.
But yeah, otherwise all good. I'm glad
nice.
Glad you had a great trip over to Blighty.
Back in the States. Back in the States. We should mention that very quickly. I am back in the States. Yep. All right.
You have to play that before the for the hockey game tonight, but you can play both versions, the U.S. and Canada one.
Right.
Yeah, since Lee was
back
gracious
to back.
enough to do both. Yeah.
Yeah, back to back. Anytime it's just you and I, of course we have to play some Lee Greenwood. But no, I am back. Barely. I had to drive 9 hours from JFK Airport because they canceled our flight back to Raleigh from JFK. But we got back to the States just fine. And England was amazing. It was fantastic. Anfield was incredible. It was magical. It was everything I could hoped it would be. Man.
Where'd you go prior? Were you able to get to a pub beforehand, or
no, actually, because
you had to rush to the
city. Remember I was texting you all about how our train just stopped on the tracks just randomly, like in the middle of the tracks, just stopped
right by Stoke, right?
Yep. They said they were doing a safety check and whatever, and everybody in the chat was just like, "Oh yeah, welcome to England." Like this is exactly what happens all the time.
Sad but true.
Yeah. So it's cool. I drank a couple of 3.2% beers and outside of the
halftime.
Yeah. But no, it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. On Thursday night, we met up with Sanjy, we met up with Robbie, met up with Tom, who's actually in the chat right now, which was incredible and so much fun. And one of my college buddies that I hadn't seen in 15 years, who lives in London, came and was able to make it out too. It was incredible. It was so much fun. My wife had a blast too. You would think that with all these fantasy footy guys, but she had an absolute blast. She said that was one of her favorite parts of the entire trip. She apparently offered to adopt Sanjy at some point. I'm not quite sure.
I didn't know he was in the market.
Something about my wife telling him that she was proud of him, and he's like, "You barely know me," and she's like, "That doesn't matter. I can tell, just that you're a beautiful person and you have a good heart." And it was.
Wow, how much did you guys drink?
I mean, she doesn't need to drink to be like that. She's just a wonderful human being. But the rest of us had a few to several to a handful of pints.
Fair.
Yeah, no, it was great.
Awesome.
Good shit. Anyway, we're back. We are back. So, the first thing, Ryan, that we're going to talk about is some injuries. So, which of course there are many. And the first
are.
couple intentionally I put on here were our Arsenal related.
Beautiful.
And these are all since we last podcasted.
Yeah. Yeah,
Which
I was
is
gonna say
wild.
Saka was in the books before. Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say, I was trying
Yeah.
to go back all the way because he was in December. My God,
It's crazy.
but yeah, all of these are relatively recent.
I mean, just amazing. I mean, we knew, for example, we knew that Martinelli had injured something, but we didn't know how long he was out last time. McNeil's been an ongoing thing, but now, suddenly, it's going to be 6 more weeks, which is crazy. So yeah, I mean, there's just a lot going on. Let's talk the Arsenal stuff first. So I think obviously Havertz is important because, you all decided to trot out Sterling again, and
Yeah, which lost me my game week. Yeah, losing by 4 and having when my starting forward scored 2 points was coup de grace.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, losing Kai in the run up to that was quite a blow. And yeah, it's like I've seen Sterling play a couple times earlier this season. Terrible, just horrific.
Just terrible.
But if it wasn't Leicester, I guess I wouldn't have given him the benefit of the doubt. If it was like basically anybody but a relegation struggling team, I wouldn't have taken the punt because I've just seen how bad he's been. But with Kai going out and then playing Leicester, like it was a perfect storm of shit. And so I gave him one last chance. We talk about last straw quite a bit. This was it. Like watching that with my own eyes, I just wanted to pull my hair out. He can't even stay on side, keep the ball in bounds. Like it's really sad. If it wasn't so sad, it would just be incredibly infuriating.
Right. It's amazing to see the drop off. Yeah. The drop off in levels is wild. And we all saw it. I mean, it's an eye test thing. We all saw it. The question is, okay, so Marino comes off the bench and scores 2 goals. And in the run-up, people had been saying, well, he's played at striker. He has an eye for goal. And he proves it. Now the question is, does Arteta actually follow through and play him at striker?
Yeah. In the run-up to that, I read all the articles, thought about like what they could do tactically to cover Kai's absence, and I figured that they would start the way they did, and then if need be, use Marino as the punch glass in case of emergency option, and that's what happened.
That's exactly what it was.
And it worked a treat. Yeah, I mean Arteta's usually fairly stubborn, and I think he's got some weird investment in Sterling, but he also has eyes, and if Sterling would have given him like something to hold on to, it would have made it, I think, a lot harder decision. But he was so bad that I don't think he has another choice other than to go with Marino from the jump. Having said that, it's not a done deal, so we'll just have to see. But that would be my guess.
Wow. And we're talking West Ham, right? Who have been
West Ham at home, which is a good matchup on paper
for sure. And
even if Sterling started, I wouldn't play him. He's so bad.
Oh no, for sure, absolutely not. That's out of the question at this point, for sure. Yeah. I'm just thinking.
Want to get that on the record.
Yeah.
I'm talking to myself, really.
I mean, yeah, I couldn't believe you. Honestly, I couldn't believe you did it.
I know, and the insult to injury was that Minty was on the wire earlier in the week, and I was like really close to doing it, and I didn't. So, yeah.
Oh well. Yeah. Okay. So Marino. I mean, so that if he's available in anybody's league, it's an immediate pickup. Like that could be a win your league type of pickup right now.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. His cameo was too short to really suss out whether or not he's going to be able to ghost, and like the 2 big actions he had were both goals. It's hard to know if he's going to be super goal dependent just based on that. I mean, based solely on that score, it was like 22-ish, which is just 2 goals. So I want to see what he'll do scoring wise for a 70 or potentially a full 90 up there. So we'll just have to see about that. But yeah, he's obviously a must pick up if he's available. Thankfully, I held in all 3 of my leagues.
Yeah, I have him in 1 for sure. Yeah, and I was tempted to drop when he didn't
I
make.
think a lot of people were. It was like right on the cusp, and I think half jump shipped and half held.
Yeah, and totally. And I mean, you and I were talking about how frustrating he is as a fantasy asset, and you were kind of telling me, yeah, I mean, you really need to have Arsenal cover if you're going to try to hold him. Although now that looks like that might change completely.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was pre Kai, obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah, thankfully I do in every league, so I did hold. So, but I could see the case for dropping for sure.
Yeah.
Him and Calafiori, I mean, had a long run without starts.
Yeah, that's fair. And then Martinelli, we find out he's out until probably mid-March, somewhere around there.
Yeah, seems like him and Soccer on a similar trajectory. I think they're targeting most optimistic projection is Man United or I think Chelsea, and then Fulham is probably probably more realistic.
Yeah,
around then.
And that's a pretty simple one, it seems. Just Nwaneri essentially slotting in there.
Yeah, I mean, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens when Saka comes back, because he's obviously got that right wing spot locked down.
Yeah.
And that's where Martinelli was filling in, and then obviously that's now where Nwaneri is. What happens when Saka comes back and obviously takes back right wing? Nwaneri's looking so good that it's kind of, does Arteta try and shoehorn him in somewhere else? He's looked pretty meh in the few cameos he's had in like the Odegaard role, and Odegaard's healthy again. So that's kind of out. Do you put him in left wing? I mean, one of his big moves is cutting in on that wand of a left foot from the right. That doesn't really work on the left.
Yeah.
And he misses. He loses some of that kind of guile and drop of the shoulder more central. So it's a tough one. I think he goes back to the bench. I mean, I don't see a way around it. So I don't want to pour cold water on the Nwaneri love, because I love him and he was incredible over the weekend. And he's been incredible for a long time. And I'm like,
absolutely
glad that everybody now gets to kind of see it, because I saw him in a bunch of cameos over the last few years, and they've always talked about him just being the jewel of the crown of the academy. So it's nice that he's starting to get his flowers, because he's going to be an incredible player.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, he's such an exciting young talent. I'm very jealous that you all have him. 63% rostered at the moment. I mean, there are leagues out there where he's available. People need to also just go and get him immediately. Yeah, there shouldn't be any leagues by the time kickoff happens this weekend. There shouldn't be any leagues where Marino and Nwaneri are floating out there as free agents. That's ridiculous.
There's a case for a sell high soon on him, I think.
I agree on Nwaneri.
Yeah,
I completely agree.
The hysteria could reach a fever pitch, and Saka's coming back soon. So,
and he can be fairly goal dependent, right? Or like a return dependent. We've seen him score kind of miserably in a couple of matches.
Yeah, there's not that much data, but the current setup is prime for him to ghost, in the sense that he's got that right wing locked up. And I think some of the previous data is from when he was a little bit more central, as I said, and he kind of struggled.
That's fair.
On the right wing, he's got, I think he had 6 successful dribbles. I mean, he can take on his man out there.
Oh, he bossed Leicester. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Plus he has the right-sided corners as well, which is interesting, because Trossard's taken him before, Odegaard's taken him, and Nwaneri just goes straight into it. So he's going to get some points from there too. So I think he's going to be more ghosting and solidifying this right wing role. And
nice.
If Leicester's any indication.
Yeah, fair. Okay, let's move on. Amad Diallo out for the season. Unfortunate, of course, and that kind of
surprise one.
It came out of nowhere. I mean, it really
just a
did.
Random training session, or
I didn't actually see what the injury. Well, I mean, like how it was sustained. But yeah, out for the season. I mean, even United fans like Genie, who is not a very technologically advanced human being, but it's still it took him completely by surprise when we mentioned it in the chat, and he was like, he was like, "Wait, what?" Yeah, on the weekend they started Xerxes and Højlund, and it was terrible.
Yeah, I missed that game.
It was.
I wouldn't say I missed it, but
you've been missing a lot of work lately. Wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob. Yeah, I mean, it was absolutely miserable. I want to stay away if I possibly can. I want to stay away from that attack.
But in one of my leagues, my main rival has like a weirdly heavy Man United roster, and I saw the result and heard that they were horrific. But then I saw the scores and it was like Bruno and Garnacho both randomly ghosted. So like I don't know if they're kind of shit proof or what's going on there. But it seemed like they still scored fairly well.
Yeah, let's see. All right.
But obviously the forwards are like really bad. Obviously Højlund and Xerxes
really
whatsoever.
Exactly.
And they're not scoring goals, so
and you're not getting Garnacho. He's 90% rostered. I mean, you're not getting him. In the community leagues, I guarantee you he's 100%. And Bruno scored 16.5. Garnacho 12.5. I mean, it's okay.
I mean, that's really good for him. I mean, he doesn't.
It is for him.
Well.
Yeah.
But it was Spurs, which they're going to be generous like that.
Yeah, true. And
let's
Højlund
see if they do it against Moyes.
Right. Højlund and Xerxes 3 and 3.5. I mean, just miserable. And both of them went 90.
Yeah.
It's a sad state of affairs, unfortunately, and it just doesn't look like they have many ideas when it comes to creativity on the attacking end.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what it's. I mean, obviously they have to persist with Amarim, but like it can get and probably will get a lot worse.
That's my point. Is I don't think that this injury opens the door for anybody. I don't think that it is suddenly, you should go pick up X player. Even if Xerxes is available on your wire, which he is 46% rostered, I'm still not very interested.
Yeah.
So I think I'm staying away from this one completely. Diallo was kind of like, and Bruno are there two players that I would want to roster, but that's about it.
I'm against Dorgu this weekend, so.
Oh, actually, so anything. He actually looked really, really good, and he ghosted really well.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, 9.25, and that was a 1-0 loss, so no clean sheet or anything there. Yeah, he did well. A couple key passes, 4 tackles. Let's see, a couple aerials. Interestingly, so yeah, I mean, I think he's one to pick up if he's still around in your league, just to stash for a minute and see if he keeps it up. Personally, but we'll see. Mm-hmm. All right, Nico Jackson is also out until April. So we saw a Chelsea front line of, remind me who it was, Neto.
Yeah, Nkunku.
Sancho. Oh yeah, Nkunku. Yeah, that's
Madueke
right.
went out early with
Madueke appears.
Came in.
Madueke is going to be out until March.
Yeah, so I think Nkunku was the main beneficiary of that. But he didn't benefit any of his rosters because he was really bad.
Nobody did anything. Pedro Neto was the highest scorer on the team, actually tied with Jadon Sancho at 4.
Oh, God. Well, that must have been Palmer's worst outing by far then.
He got 3. I mean, it had to have been.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
he
let's
usually
see.
gets at least 9 in his sleep.
Oh, totally. Oh yeah, worst this season.
Yeah.
Previous low was 5.
Whew.
Yeah, really bad.
Yeah, they're definitely on the downward slope.
It's pretty interesting. I mean, yeah, a lot of times up front for them, they don't quite look like they have, I don't know, like an identity almost. Like, it's not that they don't have the players. It just often seems like they don't quite know exactly what they're trying to do.
Yeah, which is weird because they were really good for the first half of the season.
Yeah.
This is what you were kind of expecting early on, and they've kind of reversed it, whereby you think a new manager, new system, it's going to take them a while to bed in. They'll, have growing pains first off, and then kind of grow into the season. It's been the complete opposite. They started out like a house on fire, and now they've been absolute shit.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're just impossible to roster because of the rotation and everything. These injuries, I guess, make it a little bit more safe to assume that some folks are going to start. But yeah, it's rough.
I mean, yeah, Nkunku I think is probably gone this summer. I don't see any way that he sticks around or any reason he has to stick around.
Yeah. I mean, Maresca's been very open about struggling to find out where to slot in because he's basically plays Palmer's position, and obviously Palmer's not going anywhere. So, what do you do with him?
It's so baffling. How do you have so many players, and somehow you can't figure out who slots in where and what your best 11 is? I mean, is it just because you have so many players?
This is what happens when you just buy.
Yeah.
You make purchase in the transfer window just to stockpile players as business investments, and then get a manager to try and shoehorn them in, and it just doesn't work. So, I mean, the 8-year contracts are going to be fun.
No, for sure. From a fantasy standpoint, it's really interesting. It's a really, really interesting team because when you look at somebody like a Pedro Neto, okay, if he's on your waiver wire, granted he's 77% roster, but let's just use him for an example.
He's been dropped in a couple of my leagues.
Right, exactly. So if he's on your if he's on your wire and you look at his scores, you're going to understand why he's on your wire. And yes, there's a chance that he might have a game where he has, goal and an assist or something. But more often than not this season, he's been scoring less than 5.
Yeah, it's a really, really sad one, obviously, for me, loving him from his time at Wolves.
Yep.
And I kind of fear this happening to Cunha, although I think Cunha's in a better, he's more built for a top club, I would say. But yeah, it just goes to show that, you can be a great player and then move somewhere else and just be a shadow of yourself.
Cunha, okay, I gotta say, Cunha also literally built. You see him in person, and you're like, that boy is an animal. He is
freaking ball off of him.
Strong. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He's a specimen. When you see him in person, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's impressive. He's impressive. Seeing him at Anfield only made me really want to see him on Liverpool more, but it probably won't happen. I'm pretty resigned to that at this point.
Yeah, I don't know where he fits in because you can make a case for him, I think, for any of the top 6 at Arsenal. He doesn't. We need someone that can just create something out of nothing and actually shoot from outside the box and not try to pass it in. So like that aspect of his game would be perfect. But yeah, the ball carrying and he's playing mostly in a counter-attacking team, and I don't know what he would look like in more of a possession-based team like Arsenal.
Yeah.
So I think he'd have to adjust wherever he goes, because this Wolves team obviously revolves around him. But he's got the talent, and my God, he's just an incredible player.
He's awesome, and he's not just a goal scorer. I mean, he's also creative too, which is he can play as a 10, which to be able to play as a 9 and a 10 is pretty impressive. And he's got the field vision for it. He's got the creativity. I mean, I just think he's a complete player. I love him.
Yeah, I think he would probably go on like the left wing spot for someone like Arsenal.
Oh yeah, if we got him, we'd play him up top. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, you'd have to. I guess you'd have to have the speed, but Jota's not that fast either.
Yeah, and Jota's injured 3/4 of the season.
Yeah, so
well,
we'll see. But he's definitely leaving the summer.
Yeah,
1,000%.
It definitely is. Yeah, for a deal, 65 or something.
Yeah, that's the release clause.
He's worth at least 90.
They bought him for 50. Like he was by far the biggest, transfer in the Wolves history.
Yeah,
bought him from Atletico for like 50.
I mean, if he helps him stay up,
much.
Exactly. But how valuable is it to be in the Premier League if he helps him stay?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But
we'll see.
Yeah, they must have gone back and forth on that release clause for a long time. And Cunha must be hearing from other clubs being like, dude, you're gonna have to negotiate that down if you want to come to us in the summer.
Yeah, it's not looking great, but we'll see. I'm pulling for Wolves.
No, they're gonna stay up.
Yeah, they always do somehow.
Yeah.
All right, Julio and Ciso out until March, which is unfortunate because he was looking good in his couple of appearances. I thought
his one cameo against Southampton.
Take
that with a mound of salt.
That's true. Yeah, I mean he had 3 points against Arsenal in 16 minutes. He was off to a decent start.
Yeah, fair enough.
Six against Liverpool and 10 with an assist, of course. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think he was. It's moot now. I think he was maybe primed for hopefully a mid 3 or 4 kind of season on your fantasy roster.
Yeah.
And now you're just gonna have to wait until March. So yeah, it's unfortunate. I'm not interested in anybody else on that team. I'm not picking anybody up. I'm not. Yeah, I'm just. It's a write off. Yeah. And then Dwight McNeil came out that he's out for another 6 weeks. Just as everybody thought he was getting close to returning to the pitch, he's out for another 6 weeks.
They've been really cagey about this one.
Really,
the entire time.
Yeah, it's been quite interesting because...
Which makes me think he might not come back this season.
Weeks ago, I tried to trade for him, and I'm very thankful that nobody accepted any of those offers.
Yeah. Yeah, now people are probably trying to get rid of him.
Trade Rapier the sword, asking if...
Thank God it's not the person.
Yeah. Asking if Enciso is a hold or a drop.
He's a drop for me.
Yep, he's a drop. Like I said, you're hoping for mid 3-4 numbers. You can find that most weeks from a streamer, if you do it right. So, yeah. Nice. All right, cool. Well, there you go. Injury woes taken care of. Check off our list. Done. All right, a new low. So this is maybe not that clever of a name for a segment.
Like my Gameweek.
It's whatever. Emphasis on the new, right? So these are all new players who are joining the ranks of low scoring existing players. And so that's how I looked at it. Basically, yeah, we're checking in on some January signings. It might be a little too soon to do that, but it's fine. We've had at least, about 3 weeks for most of these guys to kind of see what they're made of. And for the vast majority of them, the answer is not very much. They're not doing very well. And so let's kind of take a little gander at some of these guys. We're going to, of course, leave out the guys like, obviously Marmouche is incredible and better than anybody except for maybe Draft Lad thought he would be. So credit to Draft Lad on that. Oh my.
Very goal dependent, but.
Oh my days.
I mean, yeah.
Look who it is.
Hi guys.
Oh.
Sanjy. How is it going?
All right. I just got back from watching the new Captain America.
Okay.
Was it any good?
It was a hot pile of shit. I would recommend no one go watch it.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of them. And yeah, when Harrison Ford turns into the Hawk in the trailer, I was like, I don't think I'm gonna sit this one out.
It's probably the worst Marvel movie they've made to date.
Damn, that's saying something.
Like, really by the end of it, I was like, this could have been a TV series instead. Like, yeah.
You're getting love in chat though. Old Scruffy, and then Draft Espresso. Welcome. And then Quiz Kid
Oh
says,
yeah. Did you give them the adoption story?
I did. I did.
Yes. It was a great meetup, to be fair.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah.
My wife had a blast. I was just telling them that she had an absolute blast, and that's saying something when you have 3 guys plus 1 who met because they can't stop talking about fantasy football. And so, yeah, the fact that she had a great time was pretty cool.
And she is ludicrously good at foosball. It is absolutely insane. Like and it's not even like sheer dumb luck or anything like that. She's got technique.
She kicked some ass. It was crazy. It was pretty crazy.
Lovely to meet her though.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, all right. So okay, cool. So Sanjy, we are discussing at the moment. We're about to start discussing some January signings that are not doing so well, and what people should be doing with these players that they've picked up. And they're already testing our patience. I know it hasn't been long, but we can at least kind of weigh in on what has been done so far, and we can figure out if this is prescriptive or if this is something that maybe they can improve upon. So we're, of course, not going to mention Marmouche. Like I said, props to Draft Lad, who was singing his praises and was really the one that kind of called this, whatever, if you want to call it, I don't even know. It's not a renaissance, whatever the hell. Who cares? And of course, we're not going to talk about Dorgu. We mentioned him already. He looked decent in his one start, and yeah, I mean, ghosted pretty well. So I think that's one to kind of hold on to for sure. Yeah, we'll move away from those guys, but we're going to talk about some of the ones that have been struggling a little bit. So let's start with basically Aston Villa. Just generally, let's start with all of the players that Aston Villa signed. So, Marcus Rashford, 21 points in 45 minutes versus Ipswich, and then 4.5 in 66 versus Liverpool. Now, it is Liverpool, of course. They did not possess the ball very much. I understand all that. And actually, I have a little bit of hope for him. He looked pretty decent, but, you know, the 4.5 was not great. The 21 and 45 was, but of course, it's Ipswich. So what have you guys made of his couple of appearances so far?
He looks like a man on a mission.
He does.
Eye test. Like something to seriously prove. I mean, if you take the average of those scores, I think you're taking that every game week though, right?
It's hard to gauge because these are two extremes. I mean, most of the game against a 10-man Ipswich versus top of the league, so it's tough to really. I want to see him do it against Chelsea this weekend, for example. See what he does there. But yeah, I think definitely passes the eye test, as you guys said. So like, it was a good hold if you held on to him.
Yeah. I mean, I like that he's first here because I think it's obviously a new low, the segment, but really I'm holding out hope for him. I'm holding him. I'm not going to drop him. Obviously, I actually think that he's going to succeed, or at least has every chance to, in this system. So I kind of like him.
Yeah, I would kill for Rashford right now. It's better than Jacob Ramsey. God damn it.
Yeah.
Don't fucking get me started.
Guys, how many times?
I knew it. I absolutely knew it. I started him and Sterling, and I knew better.
What's sad is that he got more points in his sub appearance than his last 2 starts, right?
What's sad is what I was hoping that he wouldn't start the first one. So that 1, I didn't have to start him, and 2, if I did, he would have done better off the bench.
Yeah.
He's not the answer for fantasy.
Never.
He's certainly not. But who else might not be the answer is Daniel Malen. 4 points in 62 in his lone start, 5.5 in the other 90 minutes combined.
Yeah, he's done.
He's done?
Yeah, he's a drop from it.
I don't know about
too much competition, too little yield.
There's a ton of competition. That's true. That's the main frustration, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if he's a drop. I feel like at one point he's gonna have a good game. I think at some point.
About Ramsey.
Yeah, fair. I don't know. He just maybe it's a name thing, right? It's a name recognition, name value, all that sort of jazz. He seems a bit trigger happy,
Which
yeah,
can
it
be
might
a good thing.
It's not
Yeah.
resulting in shots on target though.
Right.
Yeah. He's only hit the target in his first couple of appearances.
Right.
Yeah, I guess it's a bit grim. Yeah.
Him and Garcia are drops for me, and Rashford and Asensio on this list are holds.
Okay. Well, let's talk Asensio. 6 points in 26 minutes versus Ipswich. 2 points in 66 versus Liverpool.
Yeah, not great. But I'd give him a little bit more rope.
Yeah. I mean, playing against Liverpool in general is just tough, right? I don't expect any or many points from my assets when they face Liverpool. Tough team, man. I don't think you can judge any asset really.
Yeah. I mean, I would completely agree. So in that case, you saw him in 26 minutes score 6 versus Ipswich. That's Ipswich again. That we talked 10 men. Everything we have already just said. So it seems like just the name recognition again that's giving you hope there.
Yeah. Does he look a little chunky as well? I don't know. Maybe he's not fit. that might just be me, but
I mean, it hadn't crossed my mind, but maybe
husky. Yeah, that's a more PC way of putting it, I guess.
Husky. Yeah.
Stout.
Yeah. He's husky. He's well fed. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess if I have him, I'm holding him. You probably paid more for him than you did for Mullen, certainly, and
I don't know. Mullen was like the first one over the line, so I feel like people overpaid for him because they didn't know what else was coming.
Yeah.
And Asensio was like at the tail end after the Marmouche.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I think I got Mullen for 3 or 4, and I'm really considering dropping.
Yeah, I think you should. I mean, I think Asensio, to be fair, is borderline droppable, but I have a little bit more faith in him than say Mullen.
Yeah.
And then Garcia is a forward playing right back when Matty Cash is going to come back soon too. But
and you think
score Ramsey?
Well, Cash did play.
I
yesterday.
think he came on, right?
Yeah, he came on at the end, and so you think
and
he just takes
well.
Of course.
In,
I think he's a pickup for sure if he's available. And you think he jumps right back in?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Maybe this weekend is too early, but once he starts, he's got it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. 7 points in 22. Damn.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, Cash was money before he went out.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I think any player in any condition can face Chelsea right now. Like, we're absolute dog shit. I don't know if anyone saw that Friday night game, but yeah.
Yeah.
We were atrocious.
Oh, Sanjy, you already have Matty Cash in our league. Unfortunately.
Yeah. I it's because I noticed you had him at one point during this season, and I was like, damn, Cash is like come back to life all of a sudden. So I thought, let me put a cheeky bid in.
Damn. I guess I'll pick him up in my other league and drop Sepp Vandenberg.
Yeah. Pinnock is fit. Coyote in the wings. So.
The Coyote. Let's go.
Oh.
He hasn't been great though, honestly. So that's one I could have put on here, but I didn't. All right.
What's kind of sad before we move on from the Villa thing is that they're all forwards as well. That's the kind of annoying thing.
Yeah, Asensio should really be a mid. At least one of these 100%. Guys.
Yeah.
I know they all came in at forward. It just doesn't help, especially because for my teams, I've got some decent forwards, which I'm not trying to brag, but I'm just saying I have some decent forwards. So it's really hard to slot in guys like this who are kind of dart throws on any given week when you've got other guys that are more dependable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, based on your roster, Asensio is very droppable.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So Sanjy, Trevo, your boy, 24 points versus Wolves, and then 3.25 in the next 2 combined.
Yeah. The Wolves game, I don't think Levi Colwill played. And he tends to soak up majority of the defensive ghost points or numbers.
Ooh,
So I
okay.
think when Levi plays with anyone, he pretty much butchers any other center back that he plays next to. That's my look on it as well. And I don't think by any means Chalobah is nailed. I think he will easily rotate him with Tosin, even friggin' Achiampong, like our kid. I think it's pretty much Levi, Cucurella, and whoever else.
So sounds like you're telling me that maybe he's a streamer on a decent game week.
Yeah, but even then, I probably look for another alpha defender from a shittier team, I think.
Okay, fair enough. I think we leave it at that. Ben Chilwell, one of your previous defenders.
He's back, baby. Did anyone watch his little cameo for Crystal
No.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah.
Okay. So 29 minutes, scored 6 1/4. I'm trying to see what he did. Let's see. He had a shot on target. He had a tackle. He had 5 clearances, a couple of aerials, and that's a lot in 29 minutes. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, defensively, yeah, he did a few contributions, like you kind of mentioned the numbers. But yeah, he made one of those chilly runs, man. He got a great cross. I can't remember who put it into his path, but he took this audacious attempt while Pickford was kind of off his line a little bit. Yeah, I mean, there's a possibility maybe he takes a spot from Mitchell, because I think last couple of games Mitchell has been a bit sus. Like, I think even one of the goals that Everton scored came from like Mitchell throwing the ball to them, basically.
Yeah.
Directly.
So, yeah, exactly, right. So, I don't know. Maybe Glasner favors that experience that Chilwell has. I got him in a couple of leagues. I'm gonna give it a couple of game weeks and hope that he breaks into that starting lineup. But yeah, I'm quite excited, man. He's going to be playing his natural role. So
yeah, nice. Yeah, no, and I think it might have been Draft Lad who shared with us that a lot of Palace fans have been clamoring for Mitchell to get a rest. So I mean, yeah, it sounds like he's been frustrating, to say the least. Yeah. I haven't really rostered him this year or really followed Palace a whole lot, to be honest.
Palace defenders have been great. So if he can nail down that left wing back role, then he'll be good.
Yeah. All right. Nice. Yeah. So that one maybe, is one of the rare ones in this list to keep an eye on for sure. Jaden Philogene, probably not. He has been pretty brutal. 5.5 in 104 minutes. Now, 2 out of 3 of those matchups were City and Liverpool. So, okay, do with that what you will. But still.
Yeah, no thanks.
I think he's a pick for dynasty leagues. That's about it.
Okay, well said. Nico Gonzalez. I picked him up in a league. I didn't spend any money, but I did pick him up in a league, and I can tell you that I've already dropped him. But we have one.
Rodri.
We have one. Yeah, that was my whole point, right? We have one game, 2 points, 90 minutes, 4-0 win versus Newcastle. The reason we bring him up and the reason why people picked him up in the first place is because everyone remembers that Rodri last year was he a midfielder 1? Not number 1 overall. I mean, like, was he a top 12 midfielder?
Top 15, I think, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, last year he was absolutely incredible. And so people were sort of hoping that somebody else could come and slot into that same role. And it just doesn't appear that. I mean, it's early days, of course, and it's Newcastle, I guess. And he didn't have much defensive work to do, clearly. But still, it doesn't appear that he's Rodri.
Yeah, he was. Rodri was 11th best mid.
11th,
I was so glad Nico Gonzalez scored in the Champions League, because I thought that would have been the perfect trap for managers in my leagues to go draft him and overvalue him.
Yep, and it happened, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So neither of you are interested?
Nah.
No.
All right. Well, I dropped him in our league, Sanjay, if you want to grab him.
No, I'm good.
All right. Finally, we have Kevin Danso. I want to dance with somebody. 11 points in 77 minutes versus United. This was, of course, with a clean sheet.
I thought it was Hold Me Closer, Kevin Danso.
Well, that too. Yes.
Oh my god, so many good pod names.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I'm just not.
No, I mean to be a rosterable Spurs defender, you need to ghost, and he just doesn't have it.
Right.
Yeah, Spence is really the jewel of the crown there. So I'm not just sitting in old Kev, but good signing for them in real life.
He was strangely up in like the attacking third a few times. I don't know if that's like a part of his game normally, but he had a key pass. And I just remember from watching it, he was spending some time in the attacking third. Like, I don't know.
He's really taking Angebar really literally.
Yeah. Right. High line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna pass on that one. But he's available. I mean, 7% rostered. So if they have a good matchup, certainly people could take advantage and grab him. But yeah. All right. Mateus Tell. So this is an interesting one. I include him, only because there's a lot of interest around him, and I think speculation about what he could be. 8 points in 90 minutes against United, and they were all ghosts. Not bad. When he subbed on in the cup against Liverpool, he was absolutely miserable. We already talked about what a tough matchup Liverpool can be with just the possession-based football. So what are you guys making of him? Some folks in chat said, hold on. Somebody said he's a buy low. I don't remember where it was. There it is. Ben Chickens.
No, what?
If it would be low. I don't mind having him because I think he'll be fine. I don't know why he would be a buy low because he's immediately started, and 8 ghosts against United is decent. So, but Brennan is coming back, and they're going to be healthy sometime soon. So I wonder if he's going to be nailed.
Yeah. Drax Espresso saying he likes to have a pop shots on target.
Yeah, he had 7 shots this game week. I think that was
7?
the highest number. I think so.
Damn.
I think it's the highest number. Somebody else tied with him, I think, this game week.
He has Ipswich
Somebody
coming
from
up.
Spurs.
He's got Ipswich this week. And then City. So maybe you target after City. Try to bring him in if he's good.
Nah, man, they play City very well. Other than
that's true.
to win.
Yeah, that's true. Bogey team.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to play Madison for that, and then so.
I like it. All right, James Ward-Prowse. Hey.
Don't do it to me.
Brutal. All right, 45 minutes, 2.5.
Got Arsenal this weekend. If you have the room, I think.
It's got Leicester after that.
Yeah, I think I would hold if I had the room, but it's a tough hold.
I don't know, man. You got to have some roster flexibility, I think, to hold on to him because you're really hoping and praying, and you're doing so based upon a fantasy asset that hasn't really existed for over a year and a half.
Yeah. Scruffy brings up a good point in chat, right? I'm hoping as well that the Paqueta injury is a blessing in disguise, opportunity for him for minutes, etc., whatever. I think somebody mentioned in one of the discords or something that apparently he was taking corners from both sides as well when he came on as a sub. I don't know how accurate that is, but if that's the case,
he was.
I'm gonna try and stay as patient as I can.
All right, we have. Hold on, let me see. We have. Yeah, we mentioned Arsenal and then Leicester. Okay, Newcastle, Everton, Wolves. That That's tasty.
Yeah, there's
Although
potential.
New Look Everton are a much different animal, certainly.
Wolves too, baby. Detour.
Yeah, yes and no.
It's like Cunha plus 10. Like, let's be honest.
Cunha plus 10 should have at least drawn with Liverpool.
I shouldn't say anything. They gave us a hard time, y'all. It was so tense in there. I mean, God,
Phantom penalty.
oh, it was so tense in there. It was wild. The atmosphere was, you could cut it with a knife.
Not a typical Anfield atmosphere.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
And everything I've been listening to afterwards is like, yeah, that was a rough day. Just because I think the specter of that equalizing goal midweek against Everton was still fresh in everyone's minds, especially the players. So yeah, it was a rough one there at the end, but it was great. It was great. All right, Evan Ferguson, 6 points in 45 minutes, all ghosts.
I think if he can stay fit, I think he'll be a decent forward 3 rest of the season.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, where did he get his points from? He had a key pass. He had a shot on target. He had he had a couple dribbles.
Ooh,
Good for him, the lad.
Big
Look
fella.
at that. Yeah, and then a couple aerials. I mean, that if he can replicate that, that's kind of all over the board. I like that.
Yeah, he's notoriously a horrific ghoster.
I was just gonna say, yeah.
But yeah, even a blind squirrel. But if you can obviously start scoring goals, that's what you want.
I gotta say, Greg, this is an amazing comment. Greg, quadruple G. Some of you've been holding on to JWP for 2 years. Let him go into the sunset.
Never.
Yeah,
You let him go.
I can sympathize with that.
Quadruple G. Nice job. All right.
You want to cover Choppy's question real quick?
Do it.
I say take it. I'd take a Wobie all day.
So he says,
easily.
morning, guys. I need some advice on a trade. I've been offered Kudus for a Wobie in my playoff league. Just 1 for 1. Kudus for a Wobie. I'm comfortably making playoffs.
Offered kudos for a Wobie. No, I'd hold a Wobie.
I've been offered Kudus for a Wobie. I'm comfortably making playoffs.
Yeah.
West Ham have better fixtures according to the toolkit. Thoughts?
Yeah, Wobie's a better player.
Yeah.
Wobie scores better. I mean, honestly, where you
He's
guys
been
do you
horrific.
guys have it pulled up? What number midfielder do you think Iwobi is this year? Overall,
Probably 8.
Yeah, I would say 6.
5.
Ooh.
5.
Yeah, he's been killing it, man.
Yeah.
And he's had a slight dip the last couple of weeks. And he's still up there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 11.5 points per game. I don't know why you would sell.
Yeah, hold.
Yeah.
The
Nice.
fixtures aren't everything. If you can't score, it doesn't matter who you're playing.
Yeah, that's true.
Hold him into the sunrise. That's what I say.
Everyone in chat is saying the same thing. Don't even think about it. Iwobi's greater than Kudus, etc. Yeah. All right. No problem, Choppy. Got you. All right. Looking ahead. So Sanjy, you can kind of weigh in on this too and give us any just on the fly thoughts that you have. I asked Ryan to sort of think about the point that we're at in the season and some of the strategies that he normally kind of tends to lean on at this point in the season as we get closer towards the end here, as we're kind of getting into the, trying to move up in the table and or make the playoffs if you're in a league like that. What sort of strategies do you use? What sort of strategies are you keeping in mind week to week to try to get that upper hand? So Ryan, walk us through your missive.
Yeah. Sorry, I kind of went full blown thesis here. So the first one is just, as it's pretty straightforward, as the game weeks pile up, the long term gets shorter and shorter. And so you really need to start thinking week to week. And so think about when you're playing someone and try to take advantage of that. So, for example, as soon as I saw that Crystal Palace and Newcastle got a double game week in game week 32, I immediately knew that I was going to play the team that has Isaac, Tonali, and Eze.
Oh, God.
So it's further out enough in advance that I can try and trade in one of those guys to alleviate that pain a little bit. So just starting to think about that type of stuff. And obviously, if you have a DGW coming up, trying to stash and load up on those early is really the name of the game there. If you wait till the week of, it becomes a lot harder. And yeah, just focusing on the matchups just in general. It's pretty straightforward. And I always love the last one here, helping your rivals' opponents. At this point of the season, it should be pretty clear like who your one or two rivals are. And barring, collusion of any sort, I do not condone that. But there are legal ways in which you can help nudge your rivals' opponents on during a particular game week. If you're going to drop somebody that is probably going to score well, but you just don't have the room, sell them for $1 to your rival's opponent.
It's awesome.
That's always a great thing to do. So yeah, that's just a really easy one. And then the second one was really kind of more geared for playoff leagues. So it's a good segue from that from the original segment that we did about all of these great players that are laid low for a little bit, injured. So trying to like target somebody in your league who's like on the borderline of making the playoffs or not, like, and he's got Saka and some of these other, and McNeil and some of these other really long-term injured players, like telling him that it's better for him to try and make the playoffs and win now with somebody that like an Odegaard that you'd want to offer him his way. And you load up on guys like Saka that'll help you win the playoffs, win a little bit later. So like you have to be in a good position in your league to do that. But I think now is the time to do that. And it sounds like a long way off, but like really with, the cups and the international breaks, there's only, I think, 3 more games before like April 1st, 3-4. So like Saka will be back before you know it. So like I definitely advise trying to trade him in now.
Yeah, I like that. Nice. All right. I wish I had been privy to your explanation before I did mine, because mine ended up being pretty similar, which is fine. It's fine. I mean, obviously, like this is then, I guess, probably good advice. But so mine, okay. We start with, first of all, you need to have a solid backbone to your team. If you don't have that yet, then that is worth trading out now some of your more volatile rotation players to try to get a solid backbone. I'm talking 8 to 10 guys you can rely on every single week, where you can slot them in. If things don't go well in the game week, you've got somebody you can slot in who's going to be decent. I'm thinking like even having somebody on your team like an El Canus, right? Somebody like that who could get you hopefully 6, and there's a world in which he could get you 15. But just having guys like that where they're going to start regardless, getting that backbone to your team, and then you can start to stash guys and look forward to your matchups upcoming. You can start to stash guys. You can start to look at the fixture difficulty tracker, and you can start to look 2 to 3 weeks ahead. And that's when you're really gaming the system. You're able to stash guys before other managers in your league are looking at those weekly matchups and being like, oh, X team plays Leicester, X team plays Southampton. I really want to get those guys in. They're already in your team at this point, right? So yeah, moving towards having that strong spine for your team, and then being able to really just play fast and loose with the rest of those spots, and not being too precious about those positions on your roster. It's okay if they're not flashy names. It's okay if they're not guys that you're planning on holding long term. That roster flexibility is huge, and you've preached that a million times, Ryan, like time and again, about having X number of spots that you can just literally add, drop. Even like let's say you have 11 guys that you're starting, and you feel pretty good about your team in a given game week, but it's only Saturday evening or it's Sunday morning, and there's still a couple other games that have yet to kick off. Maybe you add some speculative plays from those teams that haven't kicked off yet. Yeah, I mean, just really using those to your benefit, using those available slots to your benefit.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
All right. My other one is just kind of similar to what you were saying, cashing in on frustration of your league mates. So I'm thinking of players. I mean, you mentioned Saka. What threw me off was the fact that he was dropped in my league and I picked him up. So I didn't actually, I didn't actually have to trade for him.
Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got him for like 3 subs.
That's nice.
Yeah, he was 3.
How did you guys let him get away with this?
To be fair, I completely missed the fact that he was dropped. So
Yeah.
I hope so. Wow.
Yeah, so I misread that because he'd been dropped, so I wasn't even thinking about trading him. Why
don't you just pick him up off the waiver wire, idiot?
Exactly. And while you're at it, I would go ahead and grab Bruno. I would go ahead and grab Holland while you're there. Although
just do that.
I mean, the best part is like Joe's running away with the league already. Like this pretty much just sealed
so this is nice little insurance, yeah.
Yeah, easily. I'm just trying to finish second at this point. Like,
yeah, it's okay. It's all right. Sanjy, I didn't even know I was facing you when we hung out on Thursday.
Oh, same.
I had no idea.
But I felt much better getting destroyed after we hung out.
I was like, damn, he's actually a nice guy. I'm okay with that now.
I saw that when I was looking at the
and
they're playing against each other. They haven't said a damn word.
Yeah. And we're playing against each other in IGL this game week, I think, as well.
Are we really? Oh, man.
Yeah.
That team needs help. So you probably got my number in that one. All right. So anyway, taking advantage, frustration. I'm talking, okay, you have your strong spine built for your team. You have your 8 to 10 players that you can count on weekly. You feel pretty good about that. And now you have the rest of those slots that you can use, kind of play fast and loose with them and really go for upside. Well, this is when you can start to grab, as long as your team's in a good spot, you can start to grab from other managers those rotation pieces and those injured players that have the really high ceilings for when they do start. So that way, hopefully by the end of the season, you're in a spot where all those players are healthy. And then when those rotation pieces do actually rotate in, you're able to start them for some really monstrous scores. So that's kind of my thought, my take on that. Similar to yours, Ryan, but a little bit of difference. But yeah. Sanjy, any thoughts on either of ours? Or do you have any strategies that you want to share?
I think you guys have great strategies. I did have a random shower thought the other day, and yes, I think about fan tracks in my shower.
Yeah, good. Love that.
Was that as we approach the end of the season, I'm wondering if you now start to think about maybe teams that are going to be on the beach that maybe rest their star players in the random game week sort of thing, and maybe start targeting assets that are fighting for like a European spot or fighting for relegation, etc. So like, I mean, there's no way you're going to be able to get Cunha in a trade, but that's the sort of asset that you're wanting to go for, like some talisman from a team that is, again, fighting for their lives, right?
Yeah.
And that's why we would say keep Iwobi or try to get Iwobi in your leagues, because I genuinely think Marco Silva is trying to get a European spot. I think they believe they maybe deserve one. I mean, he sounds like cocky as hell in his interviews these days. My
He's
God,
awesome.
But it's a strategy like that, and maybe trade away like your Bruno Fernandes. Like, because what are United doing with the rest of their season? Like, I have no clue, right? Maybe trade away an Eze as well. Try to maybe get like a Marmouche or a City forward or something like that, or a Savinho or something like that. Because City as well have nothing else to play for, right? Are they in one of the domestic cups? I think possibly.
They're still in the FA Cup, right?
They got an easy ass draw, didn't they? Something like that.
Well, of course.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal's out, Liverpool's out.
Yeah. But yeah, that's basically what I'm saying is like, the teams that have something to fight for in the league, I think you go after those assets, basically.
Yeah. No, I like that. I like that a lot. Nice. All right. Gameweek 26 streamers. Sanjy, feel free to weigh in on any of ours, of course. And also, if there's any, by the time that we've shared ours, if there's any that are at the tip of your tongue, feel free to share them as well.
Sounds good.
All right, Ryan. comma.
Neil.
Sorry, I just read the comma and
Yeah.
I get happy every time.
No,
All right.
no, I did that for you.
Yep.
I think Neil's back. Sepp got injured. Neil's back fit.
Neil.
Came on as a cameo, and they got a tasty matchup on paper against Leicester tomorrow. So I kind of picked him up speculatively last week, and I'm happy that I did. So he's a good one. He's got name recognition throughout the draft head community because through his tireless work, ghosting for the past few years. So he's going to be tough in these leagues, but some of the other ones he'll probably still available. So he's a good one, good hold. Yeah, I don't think anybody understands it, but as long as we do, I'm totally fine with it.
That one goes back years at this point.
I think chickens will know it too, because I think Neil Pinnock is an old British politician who I think used to like steal other people's speeches, but I'll have to.
Yes, that sounds amazing.
I would definitely put money on chickens doing that random.
Yeah, I know. That's what I want to test as a sounding board. Yeah, moving on. I think Jack Harrison surprised me coming in for Jai. I thought he was pretty lively. Unlucky to not nick a return. He was on some sets, which surprised me as well. Poor old Jesper just can't buy a set anymore. So he's in the mud. He's gone. So obviously Alcaraz is the flavor of the week because of his 2 attacking returns, and rightfully so. But I think everybody's going to find joy, unsurprisingly, against United this weekend. So
yep.
Harrison's a good mid-5 in my book if you need it. I think Arteta shuffles the deck a little bit, just fullback-wise, because Timber and Lewis Skelly have been shouldering the load without any rest the past few months, especially Timber coming off that ACL. My God. Yes, Neil Kinnock. Yes, that's right. Thank you, chickens. So I think one or both of Calafiori and Ben White come in against West Ham, which is a good matchup, and both of them score better than their counterparts, Timber and Lewis Skelly. So I've stashed both of them, so I think they're good to go. One of them was likely to start, I think, this weekend. Yeah, Chris Richards, I think, has been largely set and forget. Again, all of the Palace defenders have had their time in the sun, so I think they're going to be good to go. They're kind of fixture proof with the ghosts, so I don't mind just trotting out Richards against Fulham. And they have I think have a blank coming up, but also a double, so not a bad stash. And then, yeah, of course, la cama hasta la victoria siempre. It's an old Che line, but it rings true, I think, in this context, because yeah, you throw out Bednarek every week until the wheels fall off, or until the final victory.
Yeah, I mean, I think I dropped him 2 weeks ago, or was it a week ago?
Yeah, you were complaining about the fixtures, but
yeah, it was a week ago.
Our friend GPT says, this doesn't matter.
Yeah, it really didn't. It really didn't. Yeah, he was incredible last week, and yeah, I missed out on him in waivers. Oh well. Them's the blows. All right. I do have Alcaraz, as mentioned, so I should just mention him right off the bat, of course, because yeah, I mean, he's, like you said, the sexy name that everyone's talking about. We got to just at least put him in here. He's 11% rostered. The reason why I bring him up first and do so in this way is because I just looked in our fantasy toolkit, and he is literally 100% rostered in the big 3 community leagues.
Alcaraz?
Yep.
Yeah.
100% rostered. So if you are in a non-community league where potentially the managers are not as savvy, he's probably out there for you, 11%. But yeah, if you're in a community league, sorry, he's gone. He is definitely gone, 100% gone. So yeah, anyway, worth mentioning. He looked fantastic. Obviously, you mentioned the 2 attacking returns, Ryan. That was great. So yeah, I think he's solid. Joakim Anderson has quietly been doing bits. He let's see. Yeah, 12.5, 7.5, 13 in the last 3 weeks, not keeping a clean sheet. So yeah, he's been pretty solid and plays Crystal Palace this week. So I think maybe they won't keep a clean sheet, but still he's shown that he doesn't have to. So he's out there, grab him. Pretty widely available, 47% rostered, and that's that. Kamaldeen Suleimana, gotta love him. As they get down my list, of course, these are kind of more dart throws, but of course he was incredible against Bournemouth, 19.25. Yes, he had the goal, but that doesn't account for all the points. Obviously, a lot of them came from ghosts, and he's famous for ghosting. He's one of those guys who's electric to watch. He's just an absolute joy. And if you are going to be, for any reason, tuning into this match against Brighton, trust me, you will appreciate and enjoy having Kamaldeen on your roster. If he starts, I should throw the caveat in there. He should, but if he starts, just he's just a joy to watch, and you'll appreciate and enjoy watching him score points for your team. And then finally, again, if he starts, I think Tariq Lamptey could actually have a decent match here this week against Southampton, the aforementioned. I think he could be decent, and I think he could just kick on with an assist, something like that. I mean, he has a way of doing that normally when he's against me, but he's available in almost all leagues. He's 10% rostered. Yeah, he's kind of the biggest dart throw of any of mine, but I do think if he goes, that he will. I mean, I think he's got a decent chance of contributing on the attacking end because he's not going to have all that much defensive work to do. Although it is away, I should mention that. But yeah, Sanjy, any thoughts on any of ours, or do you have any of yours that we might have glossed over?
Yeah, I've actually got a pick per position.
Let's go.
My tables. So I'll start with goalkeeper Alex Palmer. He came in for the injured Walton, also Murich's shit. So I'm pretty sure McKenna won't pick him again. But yeah, Alex Palmer looked great on his debut versus Aston Villa. Ghosted quite well as well. 13.5 points after conceding a goal. Pretty nice. And I think he just has a point to prove. Just finally got his debut in the Premier League. Defender, I'm gonna go with Christopher Ajer or Ayer, or however you pronounce it.
Yeah.
So just like as a side cover for like your Fleckens or your Pinnocks, just in case, like I don't know, what if they push Ajer into the centre back, give Coyote the start at right back instead of rushing Pinnock. That's always just a possibility, but I do think like Ajer's minutes are somewhat safe. For midfielder,
remember Vandenberg's out too.
Yeah, exactly right.
So there's spots that open up there. Yeah.
Midfield, I was a little shocked to see the roster like percentage. I'm assuming it's increased by now, but Mikel Merino was under 40% a day or so ago, I think. I'm not sure if he's going to start the game week. Ryan, you might have a better idea on that. But listen, he even though he mentioned in the post-match presser that they've never practiced with him in the number 9 position, my God, the 2 finishes were really good. Oh, Omar.
You said it, Omar. We talked about him, Sanjy, toward the beginning when we talked about Kai's injury.
Yeah, I mean, I had 3 other midfielders, and you guys listed all of them, right? Alcaraz, Harrison, Suleimana. So I completely agree with those. And for my forward, I'm gonna go with Tall Paul Onuachu. Last 3 games he's been ghosting. I think 8 to 9 points per start. A goal in 1 game, assist in another game. I think he's an easy forward 3 for any roster because he's getting like at least 6 aerials. I think in his last 6 starts or something. So yeah, those are 4 picks if you need for any position.
Tall Paul, love him. Marino is an interesting, kind of case study, just like Alcaraz, into very involved leagues, right? And leagues where managers are. My wife commenting in the chat as well. So yeah, Sanjy,
like,
that's your adopted mother right there.
I was like wondering who's being so nice to us on the internet. Like this usually isn't the case.
Came in late to be able to say that she listened the entire way through. That's a veteran right there.
That is a veteran move right there. Yeah.
Thanks, Mom.
So anyway, Marino, interesting case study because just like Alcaraz I was mentioning earlier, right? Marino is 33% rostered, which is very, very low for anybody who kind of knows what's going on and knows the situation there, and has been, privy to the rumors and the speculation that he's going to start in that attacking role. However, previous to this waiver run, he was 82% rostered in the big three community leagues. He is now 96% rostered. So it's just an interesting, dichotomy, if you want to say, between the two. If you're in a league where people are really involved, people really know their stuff, even if it's a home league, there's no way he's available. But if you're not, if you're in a league where it's kind of more you're just your home mates and they don't quite always know exactly what's going on, then there's a decent chance he's available as well for you. So yeah, that's a good shout, Sanjay, I think. For sure. Nice. All right. I think that does it, guys. Anything else to add?
No.
Well,
all right.
Glad to be back. It was a long time since we recorded.
Yeah, I agree. Feels good. Feels real good. All right. I'm going to enjoy my third snow day in a row. So, I know, right? I kind of feel bad.
You should.
It's like other people have to work.
No, I'm on vacation. I'm going to
nice.
Edinburgh tomorrow.
Good for you. Good for you. To be clear, I am working. I'm grading stuff. But, oh well. All right, listeners, you're the best. Chat, this was a good one. This is a lot of fun. Thanks to everyone who tuned in. If you didn't, tune in next time. Live stream, usually Wednesday nights. Normally Wednesday nights. We pushed it this week once because of the snowstorm. But yeah, normally Wednesday nights, 5:30 p.m. Join us. And this is for everybody. Get on the Discord. If you're not on the Discord, you need to be on the Discord. That's where the conversation's happening. Twitter's dead. It's all neo-Nazis now. So we are all on Discord. Check it out. Head over to Discord. It's the place to be. We'll talk to everyone soon. Best of luck this game week. Love y'all. Cheers.